Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. And I have a very special guest, and I just want to let you know we are streaming on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. And anyway, good morning, Salute, the first one here. And I'm going to bring on a special guest, Nick Schmidt. I don't want to butcher anybody's last name, which I normally do. So, Nick, well, I'll let him explain his story. And Nick, you're coming on in like 2 seconds, and I understand. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. I'm doing well.
Yes.
How are you doing, Jerry?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you. And now this is what I wanted to check. Can you see if these comments that come up?
I can't see anything, Jerry, because I'm just on my cell phone.
No. Yeah, and no worries at all. Salute is on. She's the first one here, and she's saying aloha. And then aloha. Mike Peters, I'll bring up the comments. And Mike Peters, everybody's piling in. Andrew, I'm bad at these names. So good morning from Anjin. So anyway, Nick, tell us exactly what you do. You look real comfortable there. I love it.
Yeah. So I am a student of physical therapy assistants, and I'm class of 2020 from SanDiego, Mesa Community College. And I have my bachelor's of science in exercise biology from UC Davis. So I've always been thinking about the human body, response to exercise, responses to stimulus, and just about to take the national physical therapy examination. So I'm studying for that. And I just love working with stroke patients. That was my initial. That's what kind of got me into physical therapy. Was working with a stroke patient, and it really just, that's So I love working with stroke patients, Jerry.
Wow, that's terrific. And good morning, Paul, and Paul, two other Pauls. But so you're doing. You're still currently. You are working with some patients, and you're really into neuro.
Right. I'm into neuro. I like thinking about the brain, the human brain, and everybody's brain is so different, and you can stimulate it so differently. There's really no rules, Jerry, when it comes to rehab. Right. So that's why it's so exciting to work with stroke patients.
Right.
Sorry.
That's awesome. No. And that's good. Candace is saying, good for you, Nicholas.
And it's like everyone knows here, it's very underserved. So there's a need for therapists to work with stroke patients.
Right. Because I know, because everybody, for the most part, is watching our stroke survivors. So for you to shed light on what things you work on and what we need to be working on as well.
Exactly. Well, Jerry, it's so, the first thing is just having a positive mindset. I know it's hard as the stroke survivors. It's not always easy, but as long as you can create a community of positivity like you are doing right here, Jerry, that's a good start, And that's another reason why I like working with strokes is you got to stay positive, and I'm a very positive person. So it just comes naturally, Jerry.
Right.
Yeah, am I working with stroke patients right now? I'm studying because I just finished all my clinicals, rotations. So I was working I was an intern, a student of physical therapy assistant at a stroke rehab, acute setting, and also an outpatient physical therapy clinic. I worked with a stroke patient So I've seen a lot, but I'm still learning a lot. So just starting my journey into the professional career as a PTA.
Yes, and it is really amazing because I've gone to therapy for 10 years off and on, and the ones that really the students that are really that I worked with, the students take for me, they took over for me, and it was really, they're so passionate, and I could tell with you, you're so passionate about what you're doing, and it really resonates with me.
Thank you, Jerry. Well, it's an exciting, like we were talking about, it's a new frontier of, you know, trying to figure this stuff out. And the human brain is very mysterious. So
Right.
it's such an interesting thing to talk about, to study, and
Yeah, completely.
it's everybody's brain is wired so different. So one thing could work for somebody and not work for another somebody, and so it's I like that, Jerry, because everything else is kind of black and white. You know, you get all those other kind of therapy, but neuro, not the case at all.
Yeah, you talk about that a lot. We talked yesterday, in neuro. You really are into as you said, the brain. And I've been told a couple times that I plateaued, but that doesn't work because I've seen progress over the years.
Exactly, Jerry. I think that's people are doing their best because they don't want to give people false hopes, right? Nobody wants to give you false hopes,
Right.
but I don't think that's for me. I don't like saying that because there's always room for growth, as you know, Jerry, as a lot of folks here know.
Yes.
And stimulating that brain, you have to make your brain believe in itself. I know it sounds corny or whatever, but
No.
it's actually really important to have that mental,
Yeah.
capacity.
The awareness there. And also, Paul Cummings here is asking, what's your approach to mindset? What is the first thing you should do?
So if when I'm working with say a stroke patient, I just treat them like I would anybody else who's healthy. You don't treat them any differently. You you know sure, they might not be able to respond or comprehend what you're saying, but just think of a little baby, right? It's
Right.
like, am I gonna, that's the kind of you just kind of go back to those primitive, like if you're treating a baby. So you
Right.
want to stimulate it. You want to stimulate as much as you can, talk around it. It's the same concept with stroke patients, is the way I
Right.
look at it,
No.
Jerry.
Yeah. That's
You
terrific.
know, just
Yeah.
like a
No.
child. You're trying to
Right.
teach a child, you know? So,
Completely.
but the brain is
Completely.
different. The brain is different, obviously, than a child's brain, but you want to give as much stimulus as you can. That's repetition, repetition, repetition. It just comes down to that. And
That's perfect.
it's very simple. You just got to treat them like you would any, what we would say normal, whatever that means, human being, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So,
No, that's great.
yeah.
No, I agree. And also, Candace here, a lot of people are out. She says, yes, it is a new frontier, especially with neuroplasticity taken into account.
Totally. I mean, it's such an exciting time because there's a lot of folks. I don't know too much about this. I haven't seen too much of it in my internships because I've just seen the more old school, hard, just the weight bearing, increased weight bearing on
Right.
the affected side, more of that classic stroke stuff. But now with the advancements in technology,
Right.
it's going to be exponential growth as long as these companies that are developing the technology really want to help stroke patients out, or if they're just, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just, if they can, the potential's there. Because I know, there's that Elon Musk has his neural link.
Yes.
He's been working on. I don't know if you guys have heard about all that stuff, but he's very interested in connecting the human brain with technology.
Right. Right.
And what better patients than stroke patients, or any other neuro patient?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
And Leslie, who a friend of mine too, she's a stroke survivor still, and she says if you work, then you don't plateau.
oh right, if you just keep working, don't let it stop you. Just keep on
Right.
keeping on.
Right.
Yeah, it's such a, and that's why it's so pivotal who you're around. The first, when you're diagnosed, when you have it, if you're around a bunch of negative people who are just going to tell you, oh, you're never going to get better again, that's already starting off on the wrong foot. So you want to surround yourself with positive energy and positive folks, because every moment counts. That's what's so vital about strokes. Every moment is so important, because there's, at any moment you have the potential to strengthen your neurals, your brain. Really, that's what it comes down
Yeah.
to, Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah. And Brooke Allen, that's why if you can't see the comments, I'm just bringing them up, and it says Brooke Allen, awesome stroke survivor who works really hard on recovery, and she says, "Hi Jerry, right on with exercise. Recovery is possible."
Yes, it's so important, and the human body is so powerful, and we barely tap into it in our day-to-day lives. Most folks,
Right.
but
Sure.
stroke survivors, you guys know, there's a lot of power in the body. So it's just educating
Yeah.
yourself on, these therapy concepts. And you always, one thing that I remember as a student that I struggled with when I was at the stroke rehab center, uh, was getting the patient out of bed, right? So if you're getting a stroke patient out of bed, what side do you get them up on, right? The affected side or the non-affected side? You get them up on the affected side, because you want to stimulate that side so you get more uh, activity going. Because if you just get them up on the strong side every day, they're just going to keep compensating using the strong
Yeah.
side. So
Yeah.
that's
So true.
it's just little stuff like that, Jerry. Like, make sure you get up
Right.
on the weak side, the affected side, even though it's more difficult. As long as it's safe, you got to be safe, always safe. Sorry, my phone just.
Right. No. Hey, totally understand it.
Okay, yeah, but just little things like that. So just, you always want to challenge the stroke patients in a safe manner.
Right.
Make sure everyone is safe, and after that, we can do some therapy.
Right. Right. And see what else. So just like Paul says, teach something daily. Every day you need to do this.
100%.
What else here? Yeah.
Paul. Yep.
Yep. Exactly. The consistency supports our growth and rehab. And the great comments we're having.
Yep. Repetition, repetition, repetition.
Yeah. Right. Right.
It's just like you're teaching a child a new language or something. You gotta just. It's not a child
Right.
though. So that's where it gets a little bit. That's where we have to figure it out, Jerry. But and well, the other thing is so important that I think kind of gets placed by the wayside is cardiovascular training. And it's confusing, you know, if you can't walk, how do you do cardiovascular training, right?
Right.
So you can use your upper body, you know, like an upper body ergometer. That's cardio. Shadow boxing. I know it's,
Yep.
but like, say if for caretakers that are listening,
Right.
just doing a simple walk around the building before you go to your therapy lesson is going to get them increased oxygen to the brain before the therapy session, and then that's going to allow them to have a better chance for neural plasticity genesis to occur. Say if a stroke patient came in cold to a therapy session.
Right.
So little things like that, just increasing cardiovascular endurance daily, is so important, Jerry. And it's so simple.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you know, it's safe. That's where it gets really hard, is you want to make sure everybody's safe.
Right. We have Leslie is saying, I'm on leg exercise while I listen, which weakens the nerves and increases circulation.
Excellent. Yes. It's getting everything woken up. And you just having that increased airflow to your brain allows your brain if you have greater cardiovascular endurance, you're going to have
Right.
more nutrients to the brain. It's going to be able to grow bigger. So versus somebody who's not doing any cardiovascular training.
Yeah, that's very true. And just like Paul was saying again.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, no,
He says reps. Paul is saying reps with intensity creates the brain something to chase down. An excited brain is more engaged to learn.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
Just having a stimulating conversation like we are right now, Jerry. Like stuff like that's another thing, is having conversations, social interactions is also extremely stimulating to the body versus a digital.
Right.
So just having, I know it's hard for stroke patients because they're so isolated, but having social interaction is also very important for neuroplasticity. 100%.
Right. Yeah.
So whatever, you know, even if it's just talking, all these things we kind of take for granted before, you know, you have an injury. It's so good. We just got to stimulate. Being out in nature is also very therapeutic, I believe, and also helps your body relax and might help it kind of get into more, stimulate areas of your brain that weren't being stimulated if you weren't out in nature, say.
Right. We take for granted because not most, but for the most part, a lot of stroke patients like me, like Paul, a lot of them, when you have your stroke, you have aphasia, and then we can't even talk. And so that's another big part of, you know, don't take that for granted at all.
Right. And then just like we were talking about visualizations, you can also, even though you're not able to say the words, you could still maybe just visualize the words in your brain. So just pretend like you're reading them in your brain, if that makes any sense. And
yeah.
So that way you can. It's very hard to say because every brain's so different. What's going to work, what's not going to work, but like Paul was saying, it just comes down to keeping the brain excited. And if you're visually imagining letters in your brain, that's going to be more exciting than if you're not. If you're just staring at a blank screen or watching TV, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
it's like heavy lifting for your brain. You got to do some reps in the mental domain, if that makes sense.
Right. Oh yeah. And also Mark Garman, he also does another show as well. And another stroke survivor at 15 years old. Nick is saying, or Mark is saying, Nick, what is your favorite memory in your field? Tough question there.
Yeah, there's so many good memories. That's why I love working in rehab. There's so many. I really enjoyed working at a stroke rehab acute setting because these patients it's like you get to see them the first therapy session after the stroke, right? And that's
right.
That's such an important moment. So I think any of those patients where I was working with them, like, the first therapy session after their acute hospital stay, I think
right.
those moments are my favorite because you're setting the tone. You're setting the tone for the whole rehab. You're trying to get them on a positive track. So, in particular, I like, giving people that hope that it's not over.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, no, I totally understand that. I've had a lot of therapists, and those ones that, I don't know if there's going with the flow, but the ones like you're saying you give them hope, and that gives me as a stroke survivor, stroke patient, hope, and that is so important, at least for me, and I'm sure for everybody who wouldn't want that.
Right. So those are the patients I enjoy. I mean, I enjoy all patients, but
wow.
I feel like they are the ones that really, really need it at that moment in time.
Right. Exactly.
So,
yeah, and it's funny. Some of the, like Mike Peters said, I imagine visually what I'm going to do the following day. That's how I walked in the pool because I had done it already. Yeah.
You said it. That's what it's about, right there. It's just like all these athletes training, right? They're visualizing, making the free throw, winning whatever. It's the same thing with anything you're trying to do. If you can visualize it, you're gonna create. I believe it's gonna help it manifest. So if you can visualize it, that's one step closer to manifestation.
Right. Yeah. So I completely agree, Nick. They're coming. Some of the comments here, I'm trying to keep up with them.
Right.
As Paul says, or a salute saying, as Paul says, sorry, it's coming. It says that Paul says, hope is on the way. Yeah. And they gave me hope and determination.
Right. It's not a cure. There's no cure, but we can be on this frontier of increasing your body's performance, no matter what starting point. So, and I think it's just so important to not lose that hope, because then you'll lose that energy that you need.
Right.
Because it's going to take a lot of energy to recover.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Right. And I see Paul here says, doing different exercises doesn't allow the brain to get accustomed to the same old thing. Do something unique. So true.
100%.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna do your walk, you want to just simple things like just going on a walk in a different area. You haven't gone on a walk before. little things like that. You might not think that's a lot of stimulus change, but it does help. Changing your environment, for walking. It doesn't always have to be exercises, right? But there's so much variation. That's where it gets really exciting and creative. Right. Is coming up with cool exercises specific to each patient's lifestyle and trying to replicate. Yeah, that's the other thing. Do the things that stimulate your brain. Don't do if you feel like an exercise is boring, find something else to do that gets just think of like a little kid. A little kid. What does a little kid do? He's just playing. And essentially that's what grown adults have to do now is find a way to play again like they were when they were children. Because that's also going to stimulate your brain much more.
Right. And Mark is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying like versus just doing a prescribed exercises over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Completely. And Mark is also saying it all starts with the mindset. The brain is so vital to one's recovery. If your brain is in the right mindset, it works wonders. Positive mental attitude is the key in one's recovery.
100%. I mean, of course, there's a lot of it's complex, but what can everybody has control over their brain, I hope, at each day, so you can set the tone. And one thing I've been doing to help with this whole pandemic situation is I've just started doing breathing exercises, and it's based on the Wim Hof method. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with Wim Hof.
No, I'm not sure. Lou, she does a show at 11:30 my time, which is 9:30 your time, and she does it on Qigong. Salute, apologize, I'm just butchering Qigong and breathing and some other stuff. But what is yours like?
So, I mean, it's all, it all goes back to like the Himalayan monks practicing Buddhism, right? It's all just variations of that. So it's like, it's not like these are new. People have been doing this for thousands of years. It's just recently that people have, like this guy, Wim Hof, he's a Dutchman. And I downloaded his app, and he has a guided breathing, and it's basically you just have a conscious breath for 30 breaths, and then you try to hold your breath as long as possible afterwards, and you're not forcing anything, so none of this is like, it shouldn't be strenuous, but it's really helped me just remain calm in these weird times, and it also helps your brain because you're increasing oxygen flow. Because I mean, how many people wake up and we're always, first thing we do is look at our cell phones and stress out, right, or something. So if you wake up and just take 30 breaths, I mean, you're gonna feel a lot different.
Right. That's true.
Just breaking these habits that we don't really. I know it's hard. It's hard for everyone to get away from technology, but just having a conscious breath, Jerry. I mean, it's not really about the breath holding. It's just more about being conscious of your breath. And increasing your awareness.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's a comment here. Candace saying, "How do you spell his name to get the app?"
Oh,
who you were.
Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna send. I'm thinking I'm gonna send it, Jerry.
Oh,
Here. Yeah, he's Dutch,
okay.
so it's strange. It's a strange spelling. I don't know. Did you get that, Jerry?
Oh, did you send an email or
I just sent it within the Believe
a
TV.
text?
I can.
Oh, the Beeline. Let's see here.
Let me see here.
Right. Yeah, because my phone I don't have right here. Oh, okay.
It's a free app. That's the other nice thing is it's free. It's not you don't have to pay a lot of money for it. There we go.
Yeah, I don't have my phone here because I have these people working in the house and they need my phone for.
Okay,
so,
I'll send you an email here, Jerry, and I'll post it on my on my Twitter account as well. I just can't.
Okay, yeah. So
sorry.
Yeah, so Salute is saying, which
so
I understand. She just said cheat. Okay, do it.
So it's WIM space HOF. Winhoff.
Okay. Winhoff. Okay. Yeah, okay, so Salute is saying Qigong, that's what she teaches. Qigong is thousands of year old practice of breathing, relaxation exercises.
See, I need to study that, Jerry.
Yeah.
And that's another frontier.
Right?
That's another frontier that I'm really excited to get into is breathing.
Right.
So I wish
exactly.
I knew more. I've just been introduced through Winhoff because he's got this cool app and I can literally just wake up, turn it on, and he's right there guiding me through breathing exercises.
Right. That's awesome. Because Candace just said thank you, and Paul said Wim _Hoff, right? WIM_HOF.
Right. So he has.
Yeah. Okay.
And he has an app on the App Store. You can download it.
Okay. Interesting. So
I'm a big fan of him because he's also very positive and he's very lighthearted. He has a very, very emotional story how he even got to this point. So he's a very interesting guy. Very interesting.
Wow. Good to hear. Okay, so Mike Peters just said he downloaded it already.
Good job, Mike. And it's just take it's not competitive. Don't think of it as a competitive thing. It's just if you can only hold your breath for say 20 seconds, don't get discouraged. It'll get better. So it's kind of confusing at first, but the thing I like about this app is it makes you more aware of your breathing.
Right. Yeah, because I should be thinking about that more. I just breathe, but I know there's exercises to do, and it's good for you. As Salute does after this show for the most part. It is good, and I watch our show all the time, and it's pretty impressive what you learn from that. Because Paul Cummings just said he downloaded it as well. So
I'm glad, everybody, because if you start doing that on top of everything else, I think it's going to give you a nice little boost, hopefully.
Yeah.
And it opens up a whole new way of thinking about exercising because you don't have to be at a gym. You can be lying on a yoga mat in your backyard.
Right.
Doing some breathing exercises.
Right. That's interesting.
Wow.
And it's good for stroke patients, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could be in your wheelchair.
Yeah.
And you're just doing the breath exercises, and nobody even knows what you're doing.
Right. That's funny. No, that's great. So I was Paul, you have to run. Thank you for here, but you know what?
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, and I know we're gonna do this show for about a half hour, and that's about it. Because I know a lot of people, it takes time out of their day, and
Right.
all that. And I know you have to run and technology, batteries. I totally understand that. Okay, so Paul just said he shared this, and but yeah, you'll see it. I'll send you a copy of it, but you'll see this show.
Awesome,
Yeah.
Jerry. And my Twitter account is their SPTA Nick. So I'm going to be posting some interesting articles
Okay.
about neurogenesis. So you guys can look. Whoever's interested can check it out.
Yeah, and it's funny, we talked about that last night, but we never got into that really today. Is it similar to neuroplasticity, neurogenesis? It's a little different, isn't it?
Right. Well, just by the word, right? So Genesis in the Bible is beginning. So neurogenesis is you're creating new neurons, right?
Right.
Whereas neuroplasticity is rearranging, adapting. So
Yes.
that's different for
Yeah.
sure.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how I take it, Jerry. But you're going to talk to. It's always going to be different. So
Yeah.
but just think, neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to adapt, whereas Genesis is you're creating neurons from nothing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. So Nick, do you have, since we're getting close to the end, do you have any final words to encourage or what to say about for all these stroke survivors and even the caregivers that you could shed light on?
So yeah, one thing I think that I might not have stressed enough was the importance of rest. It's also important to work really hard, focus, concentrate very, very hard on a task, right? With your stroke patients, whatever it is, going to the restroom, walking, breathing, but then you got to let them rest. You got to give them some R&R,
Right.
so that the brain can recover and replay what it's learned.
Right.
So you got to give them. It's a balance. You can't just stimulate, no rest, because I know that some stroke patients are like that because they're so go get them, right?
Right.
So I hope people also rest, because that's just as important as the high concentration exercise.
Oh yeah, completely. Yeah, I always get brain fatigue where I have like with me. I all of a sudden I could be doing something. All of a sudden, oh my gosh, I have to go lay down, even if it's for 5 minutes, and then I'm good to go after. But I know what you're talking about. You need to get the sleep and you rest. Otherwise, you're not going to recover. Because recovery for stroke patients, you work hard, but you do need to rest, don't you?
Right. And just to create a community around you that is supportive for your rehabilitation. That's another big thing, is you got to surround yourself with positive energy.
Yeah. Yes.
So
right on.
Whatever you have to do, you got to keep that spark in the brain going.
Yeah, exactly. And I see Mark. Mark Garman says, from my comment, I said the brain fatigue, and he says, me too. Now it seems like a lot of people are saying that.
And that's where I think the breathing, which is just a form of meditation, right? It's just kind of like that allows your brain to relax even more.
Right.
And that's why I like those exercises. Again, it's not just Wim Hof, it's any breath exercise. You can breathe so many different ways. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's endless, Jerry. So it's just important to keep a positive attitude, and find things that you want to do. If there's always something you wanted to do, then do it. Don't just think you can't do it because
Right.
you're limited. It's not the case. You can do it.
Right.
So
That's awesome.
that
That's
would
terrific.
you can do it, guys. Just keep
Yeah.
up. Just keep on keeping on.
That's awesome.
You know, you're gonna get back some part of your life for sure.
Right. And can you say one more time, because I'm seeing some, I think Candace said she couldn't find the app, but it is actually WIN as in Nancy, right?
Oh, sorry. No. It's WIM.
Oh,
M
okay.
as in, you know,
Yeah.
Maria.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally understand. So, because some people did get it, and then Mike wants to know the Twitter name again. Is it PTA? No.
So, sorry.
Sorry.
It's S. So
Oh.
student PTA. I still have to pass the licensing exam. So
Sure.
I'm a student right now.
Right.
So it's SPTA, all capital, lowercase, NICK.
Okay, Mike, you got that? Come on. Yeah.
I can. I just wish here. Maybe I'll send it to the. Oh, here we go. Wait a second. I think I figured something. Okay, never mind. So sorry.
No.
I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say it again.
Okay.
SPTA. So SPTA NICK. That's my Twitter.
All right. Mike got that. All right. Well, that's awesome. Nick, I really appreciate you coming on and shed some light on, the new technology out there. And since you are, waiting to pass the exam, and that's awesome. I really appreciate it, and taking your time out and not wearing a mask out there, right? Because,
Well, I'm outside.
Yeah.
And, there's no people around me. Everybody's 6 feet away.
Yeah.
And I'm at a isolated cafe. So I've planned it out, Jerry.
Yeah. I know. I got my mask here.
I do wear a mask. Let me make
Yeah.
that clear.
No.
I'm wearing a mask.
No, I understand. I was just giving you a hard time on that. But thank you all for being
Jerry,
here. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm always happy to educate folks on strokes, and hope I helped some people, and hope I brought some positivity to your day.
Yes. Well,
it's not over. It's not over. Just got to breathe and surround yourself with positive people, positive what you think, positive thoughts.
Yeah. Just like Salute says, PMA, positive mental attitude.
Man, I wish everybody just had a PMA shirt. It would just, that is the focus. PMA.
Yes.
100%.
Exactly. I really appreciate this. And then you're right. So everybody's saying thank you, the ones I'm seeing here. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Nicholas.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh.
I feel very honored to be part of this show. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and Mike is saying you are so positive. But
that's what it's about.
That's right. Well, take care, everybody, and we'll see you again, I'm sure. Thank you.